One, we released greater rifts, which has been a huge hit. Have you guys been hitting up the greater rifts? But we know that there are still improvements that need to be made to greater rifts. You know, a big one that has to do with randomness. On the team, we feel that randomness is a tool to help make the game feel more replayable. We know that you want to do a rift again and again because you're trying to get that sweet piece of loot. And we want to make sure that the game stays interesting and dynamic so that every time you play, it's different. So our general philosophy on randomness is that we're not trying to treat randomness as a goal in itself. We're trying to use it as a tool to keep the replayability of Diablo as high as possible. I'm going to go through some examples of changes that are coming to greater rifts and how our philosophy on randomness plays out. So let's talk about pylons a little bit. There's a common thread on the community and forums and so forth that the conduit pylon stands out as a huge outlier, right? People are always talking about how, for certain builds, you get to the Rift Guardian, and you have your conduit pylon, and that's the only way that you can beat that highest rift, that one that you're about to fail on, and you're just trying to figure out, am I going to get a conduit, am I not? The most common request we get is to remove the conduit pylon. That's not what we want to do. While we are considering some changes to conduit, what we'd rather do is focus on the question, why is the conduit pylon getting so much attention? There's 5 different pylons in the game. Why doesn't the speed pylon or the shielding pylon get some attention? What if they were just as good as the conduit pylon for improving your time? So, on PTR at 2.12, we're going to experiment with some changes to the speed pylon. It's going to last a whole minute instead of 30 seconds. It's going to let you run through Waller. It's going to let you run through monsters and knock them up into the air. We're making changes to the shielding pylon. When monsters hit you, you're going to do reflex damage on them. Also, when the shielding ends, you're going to explode and do damage to everything that's near you at the time that the shield pylon wears off. So that's kind of an example of how we're looking at these pylons and we're saying, we don't want to take the pylons out because that's going to make every rift run feel more samey. It's going to actually reduce the replayability factor of the rifts. What we'd rather do is say, you know, it's not a question of did I get a conduit or not, it's which pylon did I get this time and what did I do with it. We're also looking at how many pylons I get. You know, sometimes you get 1 pylon and sometimes you get 6. So we're doing some special, changes to it to make sure that you get, pretty much between 2 and 4 pylons every time. Again, we're trying to keep the randomness in there, but not let it be the sole determinant about whether or not you reach it a high, greater rift.